All right, before we get started, let me just say one thing really quick. Oh my goodness! Thank you all so gosh darn hecking much for the crazy support from the last video. All the likes, the comments, the views, the new subscribers, everything. Seriously, thank you all so much. I honestly never expected to have this hit over 8,000 views. That's it's absolutely insane to me. So thank you again very, very much. All right, with all that said, let's get started with today's topic. This is another entry in the problem with little series I'm doing. Today we're going to be talking about the problem with loot. In the middle of me writing this script for this video, Paul Tassi actually put out an article talking about the state of loot inside of Destiny 2 and how it's earned. And it covers a lot of the points and thoughts that I was going to present here today. So whether you have or have not read that article, I plan to hopefully bring a new perspective and perhaps some new ideas that will at least make it seem like I didn't just copy down Paul's thoughts and make them my own for the sake of this video. So let's talk about loot. We will be talking about both weapons and armor. Loot in Destiny has different colors associated with its rarity. White is common, green, uncommon, blue is rare, purple, legendary, and yellow, exotic. Now, even to the newest of Destiny players, this is fairly common knowledge. I'll get to why this is important later, but I needed to lay that foundation, and you'll see why. Let's start with weapons. Weapons are the backbone of a first-person shooter. Without them, the game wouldn't be a shooter, and Destiny has absolutely no shortage of weapons to play with. Now, variety is usually a good thing, but Destiny is starting to get to the point where it has so many weapons in the game that it is now becoming a detriment, perhaps more than you might think, for a couple of reasons. Look at all of these guns. So many guns. But do you actually use them all? Of course not. For starters, no one has that kind of vault space, and many of them are just bad. Many of these weapons are in the game just to fill the loot pool while taking up precious space in the game files. You're really going to tell me that players are still using this white scout rifle? Heck no. Now, I know what you're thinking. Those weapons are there for new players who haven't been able to get the good stuff yet. Yes, that is true, but even a new free-to-play player can get their hands on an incredibly rolled Nightwatch Legendary Scout Rifle very early in the game. So that white scout rifle they were rolling with before is now immediately and completely obsolete. Like, what, in only an hour into a new character? There are so many legendary weapons in the game that a new Guardian can start earning some within an hour in their very first play session if they chose to. And they can be purchased at the gunsmith at any time, which circles me back to my first point about weapon rarity. Legendary weapons, which according to the rarity hierarchy in Destiny is the second highest rarity in the game. They outnumber all other weapons in the game by a wide margin. So mathematically speaking, legendary weapons are literally more common than any white, green, or blue rarity item in the game. This, in my mind, makes getting a legendary drop feel not so legendary. In the game's current state, weapons having a rarity associated with them almost serves no purpose. The loot pool is oversaturated that most legendary drops I get are automatically dismantled without a single consideration of what perks that weapon might have. A good handful of these weapons are ones that have been reissued with new perks, and sometimes the new perks are actually worse than their previous versions, so we're getting the same weapon, just different copies of it with different perks. Now, there comes a point for every player that they will have acquired a vast majority of the best weapons in each slot. A legendary drop can't always be a super exciting moment for a player, especially if they have already built a strong arsenal. So what can make a legendary weapon stand out? Fortunately, we already have a system in the game that could potentially make any legendary drop actually feel legendary. Mementos. For those that might be unaware, mementos are items that can be applied when crafting a weapon that will give that weapon an exclusive title, as well as an exclusive shader. Currently, these mementos can only be earned through Nightfalls, Gambit, and Trials of Osiris, each of which has its own memento with its own title and shader associated with it. After leveling a crafted weapon with a slotted memento to level 20, the title is unlocked, and at level 30 you unlock the shader. This is one thing that I actually like about weapon crafting, but that's also the unfortunate part. Mementos can only be applied to crafted weapons. So any god roll, world drop, or vendor drop you have does not have the ability to slot a memento into it. What mementos do is promote weapon mastery. The more you use that weapon, the more cool stuff you unlock for that gun specifically. Mementos in their current state are a good start, but I think their functionality can be expanded on. First of all, I think a great change would be to allow mementos to be slotted into any legendary weapon, even world drops. That way, if you got a great funnel web like I have here and want to show people the time and dedication I have put into this weapon outside of a kill tracker, being able to slot a memento and unlock unique stuff for this funnel web to show off to people would make this weapon feel that much more special. It would make it live up to the name of its rarity and become truly legendary. Another change I would like to see is how weapons are leveled. Currently, it's just get kills with the weapon or complete activities when you have the weapon equipped. But the most efficient way to level weapons currently is to continuously run a Shuro Chi checkpoint from Last Wish. After a weapon is crafted, players immediately come here to level it, at least enough to get the enhanced perks they want to make their perfect version of that weapon. Then they're basically done investing into that gun. Now tell me, is that very engaging? No, not at all. I think it would be great to have certain objectives tied to these weapons, and upon completing objectives will allow you to unlock the cool new features, such as the title or the shader. Now, it wouldn't need to be anything super tedious, because ultimately you would want to gain progress on that weapon almost passively while you participate in activities, but it would need to be something that you can't just continuously farm through a raid checkpoint. Perhaps getting heroic public event completions with the weapon, or kills of a certain enemy faction. Honestly, there's a wide array of possibilities that could be done here. Going back to just how many legendary weapons are in the game, I think it's safe to say that most players only have anywhere from 15 to maybe 40 weapons that they continuously use, not counting exotics. I don't think we need the insane amount of weapons that we have in the game currently. Instead, I would rather see more meaningful ways to show our mastery over our own arsenal built from a smaller pool of weapons, so that we don't have to worry about our vaults bursting at the seams. So I think building upon the idea of what mementos currently do for our weapons will be a big step in the right direction for the guns we earn in Destiny. Another reward that could be cool for leveling a weapon is a unique ornament. There are a handful of legendary guns in D2 that have ornaments that can be applied. The majority of legendary weapon ornaments belong to the seasonal ritual weapons, but there are a few non-ritual legendaries that have their own ornaments. Spare Rations and the Callous Mini Tool, just to name a couple. Making ornaments available to more legendary weapons through mementos would be another great way to show off how much time and commitment is spent on a weapon, making it feel that much more special to the player. Next, let's talk about armor. Armor has a similar problem to weapons, being that there are several different armor sets in the game, but they get pushed to the side because as long as you have a good piece of Artifice armor for each slot, all other armor is just worse by comparison because of what Artifice armor allows you to do. For those who don't know, Artifice armor has an extra slot that allows you to place a free mod that will give you a +3 of any stat you choose, allowing you to round out your stats a bit easier. Because of Artifice armor, the only reason to pursue other armor sets is to have the ability to unlock those pieces as ornaments through transmog. So what can be done with non-Artifice armor pieces to make them an enticing choice over Artifice armor? Well, this is also something we have in the game already, but its current utilization doesn't allow it to have staying power, and that is armor set bonuses. We do currently have some sets of armor that provide set bonuses, or armor perks as it's called. The more pieces of a set you have equipped, the better bonus you receive. However, those bonuses are only for the activities that they are earned in. What's more is that the activities the set bonuses are made for are seasonal activities, meaning they won't be around forever. Once a seasonal activity has gone away, the set bonus for that armor set has no purpose, and now these sets are no better than any legendary armor piece, once again giving way to the vastly superior Artifice armor. Take this Hunter chest piece I have, for example. It has an armor perk that grants 5% reputation gains with the exoframe, and for each piece of armor you are wearing with this perk increases the bonus up to a maximum of 4 items. Well, since the exoframe is no longer in the game anymore, this armor perk does me no good, so this is just another normal legendary chest piece. So the goal here should be creating set bonuses that extend beyond seasonal activities, something that will make these armor pieces desirable to have. Something that will make players truly contemplate if they'd rather have the armor set bonus that a certain set gives over having an Artifice armor piece, or if they don't want to give up that Artifice armor slot. One thing that I think these set bonuses have done right is that the maximum bonus of whatever set bonus you may have maxes out at 4 armor pieces. This allows players to keep an exotic armor piece equipped so they don't have to sacrifice one of the most important pieces of any given build. So I think the smart thing would be to have the set bonus max out at 4 pieces of that set. As far as what the actual bonuses should be, well, there is a lot of room for potential here. It could be something like rapid precision kills against PvE targets have an escalating chance to spawn a special ammo brick, where the more pieces you have, the higher the chance you get. Or multi-kills with a grenade will have an escalating chance to fully refund your grenade. Of course, the more pieces you have, the higher the chance. There are several possibilities. Basically, the idea is that the set bonuses would be something that you can take with you in any area of the game outside of just seasonal activities. Also, having set bonuses like these would be something that players could incorporate into their builds. I think this would add some much needed depth to build crafting, which I'm currently making another video talking about build crafting and why I think it needs more depth added to it. So if that interests you, keep your eyes open for that one. So far, the bonuses I have suggested have been more PvE focused. Armor sets from Crucible could have more PvP focused bonuses attributed to them, like increased primary weapon target acquisition for each piece equipped, or increased movement speed when near allies, increasing the benefit with more pieces you have on. Like I said, there are near endless possibilities for armor sets. And the cool thing about armor sets and their potential is that you don't have to have all of one set. You can even mix and match pieces according to your playstyle. Looking at all the loot that the game has to offer, the scale is heavily tilted in the weapons category as far as just how much there is. It would be nice to actually look at different armor pieces and decide which ones would work best with our current build and not just look at weapons. Armor is also a part of our Guardian's arsenal. In a looter shooter, where part of the game's loot is armor, I would like to see armor get more love and be a more meaningful part of our loadouts other than just being used as ornaments. Now, the chances of these ideas being implemented in Destiny is unlikely. I mean, these are just ideas I have bouncing around in my head when I think about Destiny and how the player's experiences can be improved. Ultimately, what I want for loot is that the scale measuring the importance of weapons and armor for a player's loadout to be a bit more even, or at the very least in terms of armor, give other armor sets more value so that Artifice armor won't always be the end-all be-all that they currently are. So, let me know your thoughts. Do you think Destiny's loot system needs tweaked at all? If so, what would you do to make chasing loot more enticing? Thank you all so much for watching and listening. Like I said, I already have my next topic lined up where I'm going to be talking about build crafting, and it will sort of be a continuation of this one, at least in terms of the importance of armor. I split these up so I wouldn't have a dreadfully long video. I will have that one up as soon as I am able. Thank you all again for the crazy support on this channel recently, and I'll be back again soon with something new.